Well, hello again, Solis Wealth family. Greg Solis here with the update. First of all, November 3rd is coming up really fast for the Client Appreciation Party. I hope you will be there. If you haven't RSVP'd yet, please do so, and hopefully you'll be there. If you're not there, we will miss you for sure. I especially love it when we see people come in from out of town. Some of you out of towners that make a trip out. It's just fantastic. I know a few of you are making that trip, so we will look forward to seeing you. We got a couple of surprises. You don't want to miss this party. It's going to be at the new house. It's going to be a great time, and it's our way to say thank you. Thank you for your trust and confidence. We look forward to rolling out the red carpet for you and having some good times. So mark your calendars, RSVP if you haven't done so. We appreciate it. Market-wise, well, first of all, gosh, it's so tough to see what's going on in the world. And boy, our thoughts and prayers go out to Israel and what's happening there. Some of the atrocities that take place just are heartbreaking. It's heart-wrenching to watch. It's just tough. And it sometimes feels like, oh my gosh, is it the end of the world? I mean, what's going on here? And, you know, as I mentioned, I just celebrated my 31-year anniversary, not only my marriage, but also in this business. And I'll tell you, I've seen a lot of crazy things. We saw the 1994 bond market crash. We saw the 98 Asian contagion. We saw the dot-com bubble bursting in 2000. And then we saw Y2K and that whole thing. And then, of course, 9/11 hit. And then, of course, we saw 08, 09, one of the worst financial crises since, the Great Depression. We went through a pandemic and a bear market in 2020, and then another horrible bear market, and particularly the bond market crash in 2022 with the Fed raising rates. So it just feels like it's been one thing after another, and now this. And this is just very challenging, obviously, not just from an economic standpoint, but more importantly, just the tragedy of life that's being taken. And so our thoughts and prayers go out to Israel and everything going on there, but it is tough. It's tough to watch. But I will say this, and this is what's important to know, is that, again, and going to UCLA, I was a double major in history and poli-sci, and studied a lot of economics and what happens and just the world in general. And I'll tell you, there's tragedies all along, whether it was World War I or World War II or the Cuban Missile Crisis. It always feels like the world is falling apart. And again, it does look that way and feels that way, but somehow or another we pull through. And, I still believe, I am a patriotic guy. I believe in America. I believe in the American experiment. And, and I believe that there's still great things that are going on in this world. And so although I see what's going on, not overly Pollyannish here, and I don't bury my head in the sand and pretend like nothing's going wrong. It's our job to watch closely what's going on in the world. But what I do know is there's been 27 bear markets since 1929, and there's been 27 recoveries. So it has recovered every single time. And the market hasn't fully recovered from where we were in December of 2021. We're still off on the NASDAQ. To get back to where we were just in December of 2021, we've got to go up 18% on the NASDAQ. The S&P 500 will have to go up about 11% to get back to where we were just less than 2 years ago. I'm very optimistic that in 2024 that could potentially happen. And if that happens, we're going to have some really good returns in the equity markets. I still believe in corporate America. I believe in some of the innovation that's taken place. I had mentioned artificial intelligence. A lot of this stuff is good and it's real, and it's going to provide some productivity gains to corporate America and some efficiencies and some amazing things that'll take place through artificial intelligence. So I remain pretty optimistic and bullish, even though it's kind of miserable to see what's going on out there. I think there's a lot of upside opportunity on the equity markets for sure. A lot of volatility, but some opportunity. On the bond market, I haven't been this bullish on the bond market in a long time. This is the first time in decades that we are really excited to buy bonds. The short-term bond yields are over 5%, and even those intermediate to longer-term bond yields are, quite so much higher than they were just a couple of years ago. So we feel the bond market could potentially do well with less risk, and then the equity markets have some upside opportunity as well. So in the midst of the craziness, I do feel very optimistic that things will be okay over these next couple, 2-3 years. So hang in tight. I know it's tough, and And it's just kind of brutal to see what's going on in the world. But overall here, we had a pretty good week last week after having a tough couple of months. Year-to-date numbers still look okay. Year over year, we're doing quite well. Since October of 2022, we've moved along quite nicely. So all in all, we're trending up, and we're optimistic that we'll continue to trend up in the midst of the craziness. But our hearts and prayers go out to what's going on there in the Middle East. So with that, look forward to seeing you at the Client Appreciation Party. My very best to you and your family. Take care and God bless.